Since Avengers Infinity War, we've all been wondering the same thing.
Where is Gamora?
Who's Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
How could Marvel kill off so many heroes that we love? Like, seriously, who kills Spider-Man? It's left many to assume that Thanos' act of mass murder will be undone somehow, and the most likely method is time travel. Before we begin, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here's how time travel will affect Avengers 4.
It means that you would enter a reality where all concepts of time and space become irrelevant.
By now, we all know that Avengers Infinity War ended badly. Half of all life in the universe was destroyed when Thanos completed his Infinity Gauntlet and snapped his fingers before the Avengers could stop him. And you're wondering how a multi-billion-dollar franchise would kill off Spider-Man, one of America's most beloved superheroes, along with Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and many more. There's got to be some way to hit the reset button on that one, but how? Well, here's our theory: time travel. Now, we know what you're probably thinking. Of course, just steal the time stone from Thanos, go back in time, and stop him. Somehow. No. The main reason we've written off that possibility is that it would turn Avengers 4 into a total rehash of Infinity War. We just had a movie where a bunch of Marvel heroes tried to chase down, fight, or outsmart Thanos to stop him from stealing a bunch of glowing gems or steal those same gems back from him. Disney and Marvel have thrived on being as original as possible, doing something different with each film. The last thing they're going to do is write a story that echoes the last installment beat for beat. Okay, sure, we'll be the first ones to admit that some MCU films have similar plots at times, but they're always trying to do something fresh and new with their films. So Avengers 4 has to be something really original and cool, something that we won't see coming.
I got something kind of big, but I can't hold it very long.
You sure about this, Scott?
Somehow, Thanos' actions must be undone in the past. Well, we think we know what the answer is. And before we begin, obligatory spoiler warning. We're about to talk about stuff that's so probable it might as well be in the next film. We'll start with some on-set photos of Avengers 4 that were leaked in the summer of 2018. We can see Chris Evans as Captain America, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. Ant-Man's costume has the same markers as in his last cinematic appearance, but both Iron Man and Captain America look very different from how they appear in Infinity War. Tony Stark looks older and sports a shield outfit. Meanwhile, Captain America has his Avengers 1 costume, which he most definitely didn't have the last time we saw him. But the most interesting detail from these photos is the presence of small wristwatch-like devices worn by Stark, Captain America, and who we must assume is Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Based on the symbol on those devices, they look related to the gauntlets Ant-Man uses to grow, shrink, and crucially, travel into the quantum realm using Pym particles, which means we've arrived at the main hypothesis of this video.
Breathe, focus, keep it simple.
No doubt. Okay.
The Avengers will spend the next film traveling into the quantum realm, where the fabric of reality is fundamentally different. If you didn't have a chance to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, Lang returns to the quantum realm to harvest more quantum energy. Crucially, Janet warns Lang not to get sucked into a time vortex. Sure enough, while Lang is in the quantum realm, Hank, Hope, and Janet disintegrate as the result of Thanos' snap. The scene leaves us with a sense that Lang is stuck there and can't re-emerge from the quantum realm. We see him trapped in a kaleidoscope of warped reality. It's a powerful image, and if Janet's warning about the time vortex is right, it suggests that if and when he does escape, it'll be in a different place or a different region of space-time.
Dr. Pym?
You don't need to raise your hand, Scott.
This opens up an interesting question. If the quantum realm is a place where time and space don't matter, does that give Lang the ability to exit the quantum realm at any point in time? If so, that means he could exit the quantum realm before Thanos snapped his fingers and killed half of everything. It's time to explore how the quantum realm works based on what we know from the movies and the comics. In the comics, the quantum realm is called the Microverse. The name change is the result of Paramount Pictures owning the rights to the term Microverse, but that's a whole story for another time. There are loads of adventures that take place there, but the MCU version is different because it's heavily based on input from Professor Spiros Michalakis, a Stanford University quantum physicist. Marvel clearly tapped this guy for a reason, and in the 2015 blog post about why he thinks Ant-Man is the most powerful superhero in any franchise, he had this to say: "If someone could go to a place where the laws of physics as we know them are not yet formed, at a place where the arrow of time was broken and the fabric of space was not yet woven, the powers of such a master of the quantum realm would only be constrained by their their ability to come back to the same or similar reality from which they departed. All the superheroes of Marvel and DC Comics combined would stand no chance against Ant-Man with a malfunctioning regulator. Marvel and DC combined. That means he or she who masters the quantum realm could beat Superman, the ultimate benchmark of superhero power. That pretty much tells us that the quantum realm is basically a time machine of sorts. It also strongly suggests that Ant-Man will emerge in a different time. If you pay attention to that on-set photo again, Tony Stark looks a lot older. Perhaps Ant-Man encountered him after emerging in the future.
Hey man, what's up, Mr. Stark?
Kid, where'd you come from?
A field trip to MoMA!
But if we really take what Professor Michalakis is saying seriously, Ant-Man could be traveling between different timelines. Those Ant-Man-style wristwatches could be devices that allow Cap, Ant-Man, and the much older Tony Stark to stay anchored in their respective timelines. And that means they could act against Thanos' past, present, and future all at once. This could get complicated, but if Disney and the MCU are good at anything, it's making complicated fun. This also opens up the possibility that we'll be exploring more of the multiverse. The multiverse was originally a neat way for the comic writers to explore everyone's favorite characters from a fresh perspective, without the baggage of the main timeline that's been going on for decades. Each time you wanted a fresh take on Spidey or the Hulk, you'd just start a brand new parallel universe and bam, more creative leeway. There are many examples of this happening throughout the Marvel Comics franchise. Now, we've kind of explored the multiverse in the MCU with Doctor Strange's power of interdimensional travel, but there are many examples in the comics of universes colliding, allowing for a crossover between different comic series. If Marvel wants to introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four to the MCU without making excuses for their long absence, a multiverse crossover is one way. But back to our main point. All this multiverse business could mean that it might not be Tony Stark from the future of the MCU timeline as we know it in that on-set photo, but an older Tony from a different part of the multiverse. Combine that with the time traveling within the MCU world where the Thanos conflict is taking place and the big purple titan doesn't have a chance. No amount of brute strength will stop a multi-pronged attack through time.
So you're not from around here?
It's hard to explain.
And what about Captain Marvel? In the post-credit scene of Infinity War, Nick Fury uses an old-fashioned pager to send out a signal before disintegrating as a result of the snap, and we see Captain Marvel's symbol on it. But we haven't established where Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, is in the MCU world of ours. How could a superhero with such a badass reputation in the comics be MIA for one of the longest film series in history? One theory, she's in another timeline. We know from Ant-Man that someone inside the quantum realm can still receive information and stimuli from the normal world. Scott Lang was able to hear his daughter Cassie's cries from the regular world while he was in there, and in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne used Scott Lang to communicate with her family. So if one of them wanted to send a message through time, the quantum realm could act as a signal relay of sorts. Some fans speculate that this is how Captain Marvel will receive that message from Nick Fury. The Captain Marvel film comes out months before Avengers 4, and that film could include her receipt of that message, setting her up to contribute to the ultimate downfall of Thanos. And if we're right, if the quantum realm becomes the linchpin in the fight to undo the snap, what are the consequences for the MCU?
This is not some cute technology like the Iron Man suit. This could change the texture of reality.
Because the MCU isn't going to end with the defeat of Thanos, if we're right that so many characters outside of the Ant-Man arc will use the realm, it sorta makes it anyone's game. Imagine a post-Thanos world in which all of our heroes know of the quantum realm. Consider the consequences of Lang having granted the Pym particle technology to so many different people, many of whom are flawed if not downright dysfunctional or evil. Heroes and villains of all types will learn of its power and want to use it, taking advantage of its time travel possibilities to get a redo on any mistakes that they make. That means anyone with access to this place could be unbeatable. The next phase of the MCU might include conflicts between different versions of the same heroes. At the same time, completely restricting the quantum realm seems unlikely. Its use in the film will be bound by rules to ensure that it doesn't get out of hand, but it could remain a palpable force for at least a while. We know the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse seems to contain up to 3 different versions of Spider-Man. Perhaps that's all fallout from the Avengers using the quantum realm to stop Thanos. If used judiciously, the quantum realm could become a fantastic crossover device.
I thought that was you!
And there you have it. Do you think Thanos can only be beaten with time travel? If you don't, what's your alternative? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.